Chinese EV manufacturer MG has slashed the prices of its MG ZS electric crossover or electric SUV. It's now one of the cheapest cars you can buy, one of the cheapest EVs you can buy in Australia. Is it a good deal? I mean, should you get one of these instead of a Tesla Model Y or a BYD Atto 3 or a BYD Seal or whatever other EV you're looking for? Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. MG has massively discounted the price of the MG ZS EV. This used to be one of the best-selling EVs in Australia. It's not anymore because there's now what's considered better options. As a result, MG went and slashed prices. ZS EV and HS Plus EV prices are down by up to $6,000. Now, I want to say I've been on the forums, guys. I think there might be a little bit of a reason why prices are slashed, why owners, been sharing experiences that are not exactly positive. Now, people used to say in the past, Tesla vehicles have very thin paint, or Tesla this, or, if you just breathe on one of these cars, the paint can come off, apparently. No, I'm exaggerating here, but there has been some quality issues with the MG4, with the MG ZS, with MG's cars in general that are cause for concern and could be leading to less buyers coming from, say, friends or recommendations or reviews, etc. That's something I personally suggest that MG in China gets a bit of a hold of before, word of mouth reaches buyers that, potential buyers that maybe you should steer clear. However, that said, I've heard the new MG4 has some improvements over the MG ZS EV. But if you want a slightly bigger car, the MG ZS EV costs only $2,000 more than the MG4. And it's a bigger car. It's only $2,000 more now. In fact, it starts at 40,990 Australian dollars. So guys, that's around 30,000 US dollars for what is basically a vehicle. It's probably a little bit bigger than a Bolt EUV. Drive away price, as in the price you pay after delivery fees and taxes, etc., is approximately $2,000 more than that price of 41,000 Australian dollars. So this is the second time the MG ZS EV price has been cut here in Australia. And it means, to be honest, even with some of the reported quality issues, it's still a really good deal, you've got to say. Now, if you want to get the long range version with the bigger battery pack, that has been discounted as well, but it's nowhere near as affordable as the shorter range version. That version actually costs $49,990, but that is the model that has received the biggest price cut. And really, personally, if I was going to buy one of these vehicles, that's one I'd personally be buying. So why are MG doing this? Well, it's called a price war. And strangely, Tesla are not being blamed for this price war here in Australia. Great Wall Motors, BYD, and MG, all three of them electric car manufacturers, are clearly engaging in this price war here for market share in Australia. This latest price cut reduction for the ZS EV and the HS Plus EV are clearly reflective of MG undercutting their competition, undercutting BYD, undercutting Great Wall Motors as well. The MG4, which is basically Australia's cheapest EV, it's about the same price as the BYD Dolphin. It starts at 38,990 Australian dollars, so less than 30,000 US dollars, but it does get a higher level of specification than the BYD Dolphin, which costs $100 less. So clearly the MG4 is the value pick. Should you buy then the MG ZS EV instead of the BYD Atto 3? Well, personally, I wouldn't buy either of those cars. I owned an Atto 3, and even though it does have a more practical shape, I mean, it's not a sedan, I still think the BYD Seal it's got the same size boot, right, as the BYD Atto 3. It's got more range, it's just a better car, it's got a higher specification, and it's cheaper. So the BYD Seal is going to give you more range from the same size battery pack at a cheaper price than the Atto 3. That's why I would personally be getting the Seal if you want a more bargain price EV. But That said, if you're really going for the pure value pick here, clearly the biggest value pick here is the MG4. The MG4 is probably not that different in terms of interior space than the MG ZS EV. Now, even though this ZS here looks like a crossover, the interior space is actually not that big. It's considered a small crossover SUV. The interior space is probably actually very similar. Boot space is actually almost identical for the ZS EV versus the MG4. So if you're going to go for the bargain pick here, get the MG4, because at $39,000 Australian dollars, that's the real deal here. However, the current best deal when it comes to long range, if you need a car with really long range, is probably the BYD Seal, the long range version with the bigger battery pack, which costs around 60,000 Australian dollars. So to cover off the prices, the base model MG ZS EV, before costs and taxes from your states, that costs 41,000 Australian dollars. That's come down in price by 2,000. The MG ZS EV Essence, that costs 43,990. That's down by 1,000. And the MG ZS EV Long Range costs 49,990, down $6,000. So to give you an idea here on the actual battery packs, the base model has a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is a good thing. That gives you a range of 320 kilometers. So you're not getting a whole lot of range from that base model. If you step up to the long range model, you get a battery pack that's 45% bigger, but it doesn't have 45% more range. It has 440 kilometers of range, so about the same range as the BYD Atto 3. However, it is around about $4,000 cheaper than an Atto 3. So the question is, which would you buy? If you're comparing the Atto 3 long range versus the MG ZS long range, I personally probably go the Atto 3. I think it's a slightly better car, but to be honest, they're pretty similar vehicles in terms of size, space, spec, etc. So you can't really go wrong with either of them. So 440 kilometers for the long range model for 50,000 Australian dollars, around 320 kilometers of range for the shorter range model for $40,990. In other words, it's about $9,000 for the bigger battery pack, but you do get some extra features for that extra $9,000. What are your thoughts on this? What's your favorite current EV in the Australian market? We've got the new Tesla Model 3 Highland. We've got the new BYD Seal. We've got a new, apparently, by the way, a new BYD SUV coming out. That'll be a good car. Could even be the Sea Lion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching.